4, 3, 2, 1. We have liftoff.
Understand this. Understand this.
Ladies and gentlemen, put your damn hands together. Get ready to have your earlobes massaged by the one and only
Finesse Mitchell.
Oh my goodness. Genie D's, we are back. We are
back.
Oh my God. Man, I feel great energy, and I'm gonna tell you why.
Tell them why.
Every now and then, your boy, put out a phone call, bat signal to just say, let me start checking up on some of my boys that was killing it. Right. Comedians are very weird people, bro. Like, our circle of friends and who we actually gonna talk to and just let everything out to, you'd be surprised. My guest today is one of those people for me. Ladies and gentlemen, Emmy Award winner, Golden Globe winner, my friend, Mr. Jeremy Piven. What's up, brother?
How are you, man? It's good to almost see you.
How you been holding up, bro? I mean, like, it was weird in the beginning because I don't know about you. Jamie Masada from the Laugh Factory was still hitting me up like, you can do the show this weekend, buddy. I promise you people are going to be here. I'm like, nobody's coming, Jamie. No, it's closed. What have you been doing?
No, it's going to be nice. You come and, there's no one here, but it's going to be very nice.
We're going to live stream it, buddy. We're going to we're going to live stream it. Ladies and gentlemen, listen, first of all, don't take this the wrong way, or don't take this weird, or don't be weird about this. I'm going to say this, bro. Okay, you ready? Black folks love you, bro. Like, we love. I told Jeannie, I said, "Yo, man, I'm gonna talk to Jeremy Piven today," and he was just like, "Fuck, like that's the dude." And so,
no, but see, when black dudes give you love in public, it's like they're doing a drug deal because it's hard. It's hard for some black dudes to show love to a white dude in public. Yep. And so they gotta check it out, make sure no one's looking, and then they go, "Yo, man, we fuck with you."
Fuck with you, Jeremy. We fuck with you.
And I gotta tell you, sorry to interrupt you, but for me, everyone looked like you that I grew up with. So at this point in my life, to get love from a community that I know keeps it more real than anyone,
right?
Means the world to me.
Yeah, man.
Because there's an old cliche, real recognizes real. So it means everything to me.
I love it. Real recognizes real. And Jeannie, when I tell you, sometimes as comics, we stand in the background, we stand in the cut, we in the shadows, we checking out people. Mm-hmm. I have watched this guy go on stage, recently, people, if you do not know, Jeremy Piven has been doing stand-up comedy and doing it very well. Like, extremely well. So, in addition to everything we know and, that he does that we love, because let's just keep it real, Entourage was that once in a lifetime, the coolest show on freaking television, and 101% out of 100, bro, your character was just like, we've seen agents. And then that was an agent. Now you set the standard for what an agent, if you're ever going to do an agent in a film or in television, you set that standard. When a performance is that real and that authentic, where it connects, where, I'm not going to lie, where black people sit at home knowing the show is fake saying, I want him to be my agent, that's when you're killing it. So, I say all that to say that to see you transition to the stage now, just saying, oh, shit is slowing down with the world, I'm about to start doing, stand-up. And then, I don't know, has it been even more than, there's 2 times, Jeremy, that people say, there's this time when I started, and then there's a time when I got funny. Has it even been long for you to hit the stage and feel like, yo, I'm funny right now?
Well, it's interesting. People like you're honest with me, and I never forget it. You were it meant a lot to me. And I it's so interesting. We're living in a time when people are really afraid of what they perceive to be a confrontation. And you said to me, you didn't shy away. You're like, what you're doing is cute. You used the word cute, and I was like, "Uh-oh, here it comes." And I appreciate it so much. And you said something like, I'm going to paraphrase, but you said something like, I want to I want to see you let your hands go. I want you to be a little more real up there.
Mhm.
And it meant a lot to me because, you're so good.
Oh, thank you, man.
And I admire what you do. And so, I'm a student of the game, and that's one of the major variables, no matter what arena you came from. And I've been acting, since I was a child. And so I'm very comfortable on the stage. So that's a great place to be. And my
Mhm.
background is also sketch comedy and improv and blah, blah, blah. So that, all roads kind of lead to stand up. But even then, there's no guarantee you're going to be funny.
Right.
So what you were saying to me, and it means the world, because I need to continue to grow and get better as a stand-up. And it's funny that the two dudes that gave it to me real are both black dudes, and everyone else, I don't know what they were saying. They were either avoiding the confrontation.
Right.
One dude gave me notes, and at the end of the note session, he said, "But I didn't see your act."
Right. That's something we
I was
do.
like, he
Right.
said to me, he goes, "I think you should overthink your entire set and really dive in." But that's saying I didn't see your act in a text. I didn't text him back for 2 months. I said, "I'm sorry, man. I was overthinking my text."
Right.
Come
Right.
on, man.
Yeah, absolutely, man. The culture is, once you get past people who don't have any type of motive or agenda, or once they're not blocked, once the blinders come off, sometimes in stand-up comedy, we're so blind, bro, because we think we're in competition with each other. And some spots might be limited, but how you do you, that's timeless. So you should be focusing on the growth of you instead of looking at other comics saying, this guy's funny, that guy's not funny, da, 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 da. But when you're critiquing the craft, the quickest way somebody's going to get there being the best them is if somebody says, hey, when you get over here to the left, make sure you put that blinker on. Oh, I was just getting over. No, man, you running people off the road. Put that blinker on. You know what? That's just me going too fast. I always use my blinker. You know what? And since you could take that one, how about this jabbing right now? Because you jabbing. But damn, bro, your shit is funny. And if you give like a specific note and it's genuine, and then you keep it moving, that comic gonna always remember that, because he's gonna be like, yo, that shit was helpful. You know what I mean? And a lot of people just don't do that. The people with the blinders off, and then we ain't just too into ourselves because we're successful, and we come down, we do our set, and we wonder why we're 10 minutes late behind the show. And once we pass all that shit and you just see somebody that's just dope and they in the club too, you're like, yo, man, this bit is hilarious. If you switch the mama to a grandmama, man, try it, and just keep it moving. It's up to us, and it's up to you as the artist to be like, I think I want to incorporate that. But I know I love to hear it because it's love when people do that. It's just love, like for the craft of the game. Yo, Jeremy, you dope.
Yeah, because you listen. The reality is, how long have you been doing stand up?
21 years.
Okay, so talk of Malcolm Gladwell. 10,000 hours. You've surpassed that. So why wouldn't I come to you as a student? I've got 10,000 hours as an actor. But I want to hear what you have to say, and what you just said about little tweaks.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's crazy. Like a little tweak you suddenly can get the laugh.
It's a boom.
So, and so I have to be a student, put the ego aside, and continue to grow. My first year as a stand-up, 250 shows. I had to just not stop.
Mm-hmm.
Every 5 to 8 shows a week, because I saw right away, like the only way to get better is if bombing is essential.
Essential.
And
it is,
because, and then you get the fear of God put into you, and you go, okay, first of all, as you know, staying in it. Because the first time I bombed, I was at the Dime.
Okay.
Have you ever performed at the Dime?
Hell no.
Oh my God.
That's like performing with in 8 Mile where Eminem went up against what's the name of that group? Free World.
Oh my God!
Everybody follow me. No, that's
right. It's like doing 8 Mile.
But Jeremy, that's the equivalent to something we had in Atlanta on a very, very urban side called 559, straight gangster. You know what I mean? But those rooms, you hate them, but when you're starting or when you're like, oh, let me go to like in Rocky when I hang up the meat instead of going to a real gym. No, let me hang up some real meat and jab till I hear the bones break. That's what the dime is. It conditions you. So when you do bomb, maybe somewhere else or whatever, or you just get a standing ovation, it just puts everything in perspective. And you just start saying, I had a dope set. That's it. That's all you care about. I had a dope set.
And what's interesting, I learned very fast about the comedy gods, because the first time I bombed was there. And I remember being on stage thinking, oh, okay, you're not funny. And you've actually never been funny, ever. And then you start doubting. And then I started just talking about how I need to crawl back into the womb because I need to take my entire life back. And I started being very self-deprecating and just crushing myself. And then I started getting them on my side a bit, you know? But as you know, it was like 8 Mile, but imagine if there's no one in the room except a couple comics in the back. And I got up there on stage and I said, you guys are probably wondering what I'm doing here. And some dude goes, yeah, what the fuck are you doing here, man? I was like, oh my God.
Right.
Like it's not just I'm gonna bomb, but they don't want me here.
You want to know why?
And I'm taking their spot.
Yeah, it's because you're doing it. It's because you're doing it backwards. Like they are doing stand-up comedy to one day get discovered or win a role someday that could land them in a great TV show. Versus you have been a trained actor all your life, and then you do the comedy thing. You do the comedy show. I don't know if the Ellen show that you did that time was like a big break. You know, as far as just like, oh shit, this is I'm good at this. To go all the way there to Entourage, to one of my favorite movies, Smoking Aces, you know what I'm saying? To just make these classics and come up with these classic characters and then show up at a comedy club and being like, yeah, so I'm supposed to go third. I have 10 minutes as well. People are looking at you like, bro, we trying to eat. Like, man, what you doing here? And you know what? It doesn't matter, bro.
Listen,
you know what I mean?
I get it. And you know me, I respect the game so much, but just to give you, you know, you brought up Smoking Aces, you know, Common, Rashid, who has become a great actor and a really prolific producer. And we all know him as a brilliant rap artist.
Let me interrupt you real quick. When you look at me to the left, we see this there, and then my bald head, basically, he takes all the roles that I think I'm supposed to get that I never get the information that they're auditioning for because they've already just gave him the role. But anyway, go ahead, finish. He dope.
Well, listen,
he dope. I love Common.
Last time I checked, you're starring in a comedy that I think they came to you first. That's one man talking, but
okay. Yep, you're right.
Come on.
I'm doing great.
Let's change the narrative, man.
You got it. But that's when you first met Common. Yeah.
Common had never acted before, and I somehow was. You may hate me for this, but I somehow was a part of casting him. And I'll tell you how it happened. I went to one of his shows and I saw him on stage, and I was like, he had this presence, and we were looking for someone very specific, who had this interesting duality where, you know, they had a physical presence that could be tough, but there was a certain sensitivity to them and whatnot. And he had all of it. I'm from Chicago. He's from Chicago. So I was already biased, but whatever. He just owned that stage.
Yeah.
And he was performing, and it was just, I was mesmerized, went backstage, talked to him, told Joe Carnahan, we got to get this guy in to audition. Anyway, so he had never acted before. Here he is playing opposite me in a studio film.
Mm-hmm.
And I took him under my wing, and he, like I was talking about, you know, myself navigating stand-up, he put his ego out of the way. He was a student.
Yeah.
And you could tell that this dude, it didn't matter how accomplished he was
right
in another arena. He was there to learn, and he just got better and just rose to the occasion and crushed it. And, you know, the rest is history. But I'm not comparing the two arenas because you can't.
No.
And I get why stand-ups are so precious about their space, because they've worked so hard,
mm-hmm.
and they've been, all over the country and all those open mics, and I get it. And yet when someone comes onto a set as an actor, I don't care how long they've been doing it.
Right.
It's my job to get the best performance out of them.
Right.
And so it's interesting.
Yeah, man. But at the same time, you know what I say to them? Hey, get on your grind. Jeremy, make them work harder. Finesse Mitchell, make them work harder. I've gone to the club where I sit back and I'm like, I'm going to do a spot. But I was such a fan of somebody that was already there. I really went there to watch them and, oh, yeah, I got to perform. But now I want to be dope because I think they're dope. So I want them to make sure that they know that I'm dope. You know what I mean? It's a game. But I'm just saying, hey, probably, I don't know when I will say this. I look forward to you doing a 1 hour just so people can see what you're talking about. You know what I mean? Because I enjoy it every time you perform it. And
well, thank you, man.
You know
I
mean?
coming from you, that means the world, because you know what you're doing. And these have been strange times.
You know what's dope about us, bro? We can go get a check anytime we want to. You know what I mean? We can go entertain anytime we want to. And it helps that if, nobody's casting you, you can be like, okay, well, I'm about to go, to Kentucky of all places or Nebraska of all places. But then when you go to your Miamis and your Houstons and your DCs and you're like, oh, it's just, you fall in love with it. You fall in love with performing and being a one-man band. And then when that other life calls, you're like, oh, yeah, let me cancel some dates and move some stuff around. But you realize I was never not busy. And that's a dope life to me, to be doing what you
You're
love.
absolutely right. And it's, this life now more than ever, you have to be able to call an audible.
Yes.
And change up your game completely, and not, we somehow can define ourselves by what we do, and you have to throw all that away because we're all trying to figure it out right now. And has it been tough for you because you've had a live audience for over 20 years. Has it been weird these past 5-6 months?
I'll be honest with you, bro. At first, I was on my way to Chicago, and then I decided at the last minute I'm not going to the Schaumburg Improv. I have a feeling they're about to cancel flights. It all happened the way I said it, the way I called it. And I haven't been on stage since, and that was back in March 13th, something like that.
Yeah.
But Jeremy, for me, bro, I didn't realize I needed to slow down. I did not realize I needed to write this movie. I needed to write this TV show. I needed to start this podcast. I needed to connect. Let me start over just in case my wife watched this. I needed to spend more time with my family.
There you go. That's
I needed to learn my children's middle names.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
Right.
it feels great to be more connected to them now during this whole marriage boot camp that we've been going through than ever before since the day I took her to the Cheesecake Factory and we became a couple. You know what I mean?
And they're probably so happy to have you around.
Bro, I got a 2-year-old who every time I come through the door, she grabs my leg, she screams, "Daddy, daddy, daddy." She jumps up and down, and then she runs off. But any other time in that house, she don't look at me. She won't let me touch her. It's crazy, bro. I sometimes leave and act like, and I stand outside and I open up the door and I be like, "Hey," she goes, "Daddy," because she think I've been somewhere just to get some love.
But listen,
But
I mean,
it's
you
fun.
got it. Like, you have to embrace this time and realize that this was an opportunity for all of us, to be more present.
Push a reset.
Yeah, and embrace that reset button and do all the things that we didn't do because we were too distracted.
Yeah. A lot of us needed it. A lot of us needed it. The people who were not able to financially, just stay in that pocket of at least what they're used to, it's been tough for them. It's hard for them. The people that have been able to call an audible and figure it out, or the people who were afforded opportunities to work from home. So it allowed the transition easier to figure it out. And then the people who were just like, "Hey, I don't need it. I need this break. I'm going to go play this game or that game or golf or travel or whatever." All I know is that for me personally, I needed it. I needed to reach out to family, to friends. I needed to really make a connection and check on people and just say, "Oh, how are you doing?" you know, and just connect. Not go into it like they may ask me for something or they want something, or hey, I'm hitting you up because it's your birthday. No, I'm just like, yo, man, this shit is crazy. So how are your boys? Tell me, you know what I mean? And then it's like, hey, man, so I'm catching up. People, if you have not caught up with at least 5 people that you ain't talked to, and they went to your high school, reach out. I don't care if it's liking a picture on the gram, but do something different where you try to be a little bit more connected to people and stay focused on your grind. But I always feel like people should like stay connected. The reason we are so fucked up right now, Jeremy, my opinion, is that it's so easy to disconnect. And now we got somebody telling us it's okay to disconnect if it allows him to do what he got to do with his agenda. But we should always come together, because I'm going to always be that dude that come up. And even if I didn't know you as an artist, just because I'm a fan, I would have come up to you anyway and say, yo, bro, you dope. Because you need to hear that, because you dope. You know what I mean?
Well, thank you. But also you really did speak your truth to me, which a lot of people, for whatever reason, they're afraid to. And we can all grow. I mean, that's, you know, I have to watch myself. And my father was the same way, where, you know, we would really offend people because they didn't know where to put the truth. And we always spoke the truth as we know it, you know. And sometimes when you say something to someone, you gave me a great note, you know, and I really took it on board, man. It's like, you know, you said it's cute, but like, you know, who are you really? I know you've got an edge. Let's see it.
I know you have an edge. Like you have just the characters you play will make your personal life more colorful than anything that people could envision. They don't know that journey. Like everybody got their own journey, but where you're able to reach to, the level that you're willing to go to, I'm like, homie's dope. That person needs to come out on stage, because that's what's like, man, how you get so dope? And then tell me this joke that could be a lie or it could be the truth, because why wouldn't you know Shaquille O'Neal? Why wouldn't y'all be hanging out? One thing I'll never forget is Chris Tucker telling me, because I saw Chris Tucker, he did some dope shit one day, Jeremy. He has a comedy club in Atlanta, and Chris Tucker would never show up, but he would show up every night, and you never knew when he was going to show up. And it's the height of Chris Tucker at this time. And nobody knows who's coming up next. It's like the host went off the stage, and so everybody's sitting in the crowd, Jeannie, like, okay, what the fuck is going on? He didn't introduce anybody. What is going on? And then I think this dude always wanted to do this, but Chris Tucker came through the middle of the curtain and then went in front of the audience and just did this and froze. And the crowd went crazy. And it was the very thing that Michael Jackson used to do back in the day when he came out and he just stood there. And it was for over, you know how long 2 minutes is if nobody's talking on a comedy stage? That shit is eternity. And people literally went crazy. And all he did was this, Jeremy. He was like, and they was like, ah! And he did the Michael Jackson. And I thought, I just want to get to that in my career. I want to get to that one day where it's like my work and just how I feel. And, you know, he was feeling good. He took the alcohol out of his club. Go ahead.
I think what you have is more special because, you know, as you know more than anyone, you know, you can get that love in the beginning because of what you've done and their perception of you and your track record. And then when it quiets down, it's all about what can you bring? Right. What do you got? Do you have it or you don't? And, you know, that's when you do your thing and you'll have the rest and you're on that path. And Chris, you know, he obviously idolizes Michael Jackson and he does a great impersonation and he can do it. I've worked with Chris, you know, I've experienced him. I've had some crazy experiences with him. There's, you know, man, I was hired one time to read. Someone called me a big producer. I can't say their name, but they're like, you know, he said, Jeremy, would you like to read the role of Inspector Clouseau? And I was like, man, that's in Pink Panther. I was like, that's the dream. And then he goes, great, for Chris Tucker. I was like, I'm sorry. I was like, that doesn't even make any sense. What is it? I'm sorry. And he goes, well, we're going to put together a reading and we're going to present it to Chris, and we'd love Chris to play the role, but we'd love for you to read the role. So, and to get Chris to, and I'm thinking I'm going to be used as bait to get Chris Tucker to play this role.
Right.
And listen, no matter how you perceive me as an actor, I'll always be just that scrappy, hungry journeyman actor from Chicago. So I'm so stupid, I do it. I literally do it because I just can't turn down an opportunity. And I'm so dumb, I think, oh, I'm going to crush it, and they're going to realize that I'm the dude.
Right.
Yeah, right.
Right.
So they get me and Ving Rhames and all these dope actors to read it, you know? And we do our thing, and it went really well. And then afterwards, he goes, yo, man, that shit was off the hook.
Right.
He goes, yo, man. He goes, for real, you must have studied acting.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, man, I've been an actor my whole life. And then the producer was like, well, Chris, what do you think? Would you care to join us? And he goes, no, man, I gotta go, man. But that shit was dope, you know. And he turned him down flat, like in the room.
Right.
It was crazy.
Hey, is this Perrier? Can I grab one of those? Okay, I'm gonna take that on the way out.
Yeah, for real. Oh, dope. He was like, I'm going to Africa. I'm gonna check out some horses, some Arabian horses. I gotta go. But that shit was dope.
Appreciate y'all, man. Y'all were dope. That was real good, man. That was real good. You been acting for a while? For a long time? For real? Good, man. That was dope. Okay, so yeah, man.
No, I can't do it.
Can't do it. I can't do
him,
Good.
I think it was somewhere around 20 million to play Inspector Clouseau, and it's all part of it, you know. And I had a great experience, and I got to get to work with Ving, who I'd worked with before, and it's all part of it. And you can't get used to any type of position of power because the pendulum swings both ways.
Right. Because I was just getting ready to say, you know what? I would have done it for $20 million. I would have done Clouseau for $5 million. What would you tell, bro? This to my younger folks out there. But what would you tell the 20-year-old Jeremy Piven, the 20s? Like you knew where you wanted to go. You know where you are now. This is reflective, and there's a lot of people that always hit me up or DM me, and it's just weird how people can get in touch with you now. But I always get this question: what would you tell the 20-something finesse when you first said, "Oh, I'm gonna do startup. I'm gonna do stand-up comedy"? What would you tell that guy? And I mean, it doesn't even have to be business related. Like, if it's a shortcut to get to happiness, not to success, but happiness, what would you tell the dude?
I would say, be careful. Don't allow yourself to be a slave to your ambition, because you need that duality in your life. You need that balance. And sometimes, it can just always be about the next job.
Right.
You've got a family, a beautiful family. I'm 200 years old, still single. It's not cute anymore. You know what I mean? Right. No regrets. No regrets. I don't know why I'm yelling, but no regrets. But for me as a hungry, Chicago journeyman actor, and that's what I've been my whole life. Really, it's like I just what's the next gig? What's the next gig? And I've been on that path for so long, and it's okay to sometimes you can get defined by your work ethic and how prolific you are and all this stuff. And I think, to be honest with you, there's a whole generation coming up I don't even need to tell that to, because I think they intrinsically get it.
Right.
I think they're a little bit different, but yeah, it's okay to go and experience the world and take time for relationships and find that balance in your life, because one will inform the other anyway. So I know it may sound like strange advice,
No, finding the balance between the hustle and a connection with somebody or something
Yeah.
other than the
Yeah.
hustle. No, that's
Yeah.
dope advice. Yeah, because we can be so tunnel vision, trying to get success. I always say this. I say this all the time. We threw away some good people, entertainers. We threw away some good people along this ride, and they was just trying to latch on, and we felt like we couldn't do it with them latching on so tight, or they were just too heavy. Like we couldn't carry, you know what I mean? We were so focused into ourselves, bro, that we let some good friendships, some good relationships, some good girlfriends, boyfriends totally get away through us, and then had the nerve to be like, yeah, they're crazy, or yeah, they tried to smother me, that type of thing. But when you get a certain age, and you look back and you get reflective and you say, you know what? I always tell people, start now. Like the minute you make that epiphany, start now, bro. Don't stay that person, because it took this long for you to like have this breakthrough. So you might as well not stay that dude that's just like, no time, no time, no time. Make time, smell the roses. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And then if you don't, we'll be brought to our knees like what this has been, and a time for all of us to reset. So but you got to embrace it, and not play the victim. We need to embrace these times, like you have, like what you were talking about, and spending more time and deepening all the relationships that you have. I'm lucky enough to still have my mom. I'm going to go see her after this, not to make you feel guilty, but every second I stay with you is taken away from Joyce Piven. No, but it's and it's great because I get to see her now more than ever, because the past couple of years I've been on the road and all that kind of stuff, and it's just this time has been a blessing because I get to see her a lot, and she's been my acting teacher since I was a kid, so I can still work with her and run lines with her, or even try jokes on her, which is, and she's a tough audience.
Yeah, moms are the best.
Where do you because when you were doing it in Atlanta, and those rooms they're keeping it real. You're either hitting it or you're not.
Right.
So where are you trying material now, or where have you been? I'm just curious about, do you have certain people that you try it on that they're going to give it to you straight?
I have been doing material in my iPhone. I have literally been hearing something funny or coming up with something funny, or watching my kids do something funny and saying, that's a damn joke. And I put it in my phone and I just log it. And what I do, my technique now, I just go back through the jokes and see if they made any sense, or if the subject matter made any sense or triggered anything that I felt in that moment. And then I just try to sew it to a fabric that I've already been making this nice soft quilt to, so that when I'm ready to come back out, boom, I love this new hour. Like, I want to take some old jokes with some new jokes, and then some COVID jokes, and then some Black Lives Matter situation, and then some politics, and then some, you know what I mean? It's like, there's no way we can ignore what's going on now. So when the world opens back up, every comic should have a challenging statement that where they find the funny of what's happening right now. You know what I mean? If we go back to that same routine without altering it a little bit, because once you get somebody risking their life and coming to see you in a mask, talk about the now. You know what I mean? You want to take their mind away from the hardships, but it's our job to find the funny. And that don't mean go up there with a rant, and that don't mean go up there with, hey, blah, blah, blah. No, find the funny. And when the person don't laugh, but everybody else laughing, but this person too offended because that hit, then you realize it's them. But damn, I found that joke. You know what I mean? I walked that Trump joke. I walked that Black Lives Matter joke. I walked that, Joe Biden joke. You know what I mean? Trump is calling Joe Biden Joe Hyden right now. I think whoever write for Trump is on his nicknames. They need to work for the Daily Show. But hey.
That's a whole
nother.
Man, we got one dude that doesn't know where he is, and another dude that doesn't know who he is.
Right.
So it's an interesting moment in time right now.
It's an interesting moment. We can say what I know what my dislikes are for Trump, And you know, I'm a big heart person in addition to policy, in addition to just like, I really, for some reason, I know it's politics, but sometimes I got a thing with the whole personal life. You know what I mean? So if we are supposed to like look at this, take off the scab of Joe Biden's past, but then people don't even want to entertain a glaring big ass open sore wart on the other dude. Like, you're like, come on, man, we can't. Everything that we said we're not supposed to do publicly and not do to each other, and not, he does this shit. You know what I mean? So it's like, I want to walk the line, but then you also got to let people know where you stand, because you got to stand for something as you're making them laugh. Does any of that make sense? I know it was a long.
It totally makes sense. And this is a 4-hour conversation we're about to open up, so we got to condense it. But not only does it make sense, but you know, your comedy is you're speaking the truth as you know it. And you just said you don't want to get up and rant, right. But at the same time, comedy is and can be a comedic rant, mm-hmm. And that's where our jokes come from. Mm-hmm. Is that through line of like, let me get this out there, mm-hmm. and illuminate a truth while making it funny. And we're living in a time where both sides are living in such extremes, mm-hmm. that we don't want to even listen to the other.
Right.
And there is no conversation. And that's why I love this form that you're doing, because it's a conversation. Mm-hmm. And we need to embrace this more, because I'll listen to anyone. If you have a point, mm-hmm. you know, and you're on the other side, let me hear it.
Yes.
I'm open.
Absolutely.
But the moment we shut that down and go, no, you're on the other side, get the fuck out.
Right.
You're dead to me. That we can't, we can't progress.
Right. It's like you walk into the meeting and one person says liberturd, another person says KKK, and you're like, what the fuck? Nobody's agreeing after that. No matter what we came there to do, nobody's agreeing after that. And I feel like that's where we are now, where we just call people names. There's some shit that's just so blatant and so obvious. You know, there's a lot of social justice issues going on right now. I think the young people, and we were talking about the young people earlier, and that they know how to make that connection, or what would I tell them if I was in my 20s? The young people are the one that's in the street. Like, from the person who making, you know, 30 million from the NBA to walking to the person next to him that's only making 30,000 if unemployed. Like, that whole group of a very diverse group of young, passionate young people that's like, stop this bullshit. Bro, it's so energizing to see it, and then it's so disheartening to see when some movements get hijacked by both sides of the far reaches of whatever they want to, you know, stand up and believe for, but they use this person's forum to make it just one big wild party. You know what I mean? Where everybody, the whole message is now convoluted because we can't get past looting or violence or whatever. And then you can't get past the obvious of like, yo, you did know that was 7 shots, right? You know what I mean? Like, and people are like, yeah, but the buildings and the lawlessness afterwards. And you're like, you know why it started to begin with, right? Like, you keep going back and forth with people thinking that their side is the right side. I am so moved right now in this moment that I know what my job is creatively, but I also feel like even when I see some stuff that you're talking about, like on some of your social media pages, like, we're sick of the bullshit. And I'm excited that the young people are fucking leading the charge where they're like, we're sick of the bullshit. I want to talk to you. I want to know why you disagree with me. Okay, I still don't agree with you, and you still don't agree with me. But we got to, like, I can't stab you. You can't stab me, because then nobody wins. And we got to live together. You know what I mean? I'm long-winded on that shit, bro, but.
No, listen, everything you're saying makes sense, because the reality is, unfortunately, we're living in a time where people just want to, our attention is for sale. Okay. Mm-hmm. So the headlines are everything. Mm-hmm. So defund the police. Mm-hmm. Well, fuck, without police, we're fucked. You guys are crazy. No. We're not talking about defund and we're not talking about literally just abolishing the police. Mm-hmm. There are certain things we're giving them money to, you know, deal with the homeless. Mm-hmm. Well, maybe the police shouldn't specifically deal with the homeless. Let's give that to someone who's qualified. They're talking about specifics,
right?
You know what I mean? So they see and
But
And
you
so
can
we're not
hijack
having-
that headline. Like the other side has just flat out said, yeah, we just want no police. And that's not what the other side is saying. They were saying, yo, if your budget is $1 billion, can we shave $200 million off and buy some schools and some computers in neighborhoods where you don't have to police them motherfuckers so hard because they're actually in a school that they enjoy with a playground that they like and it's safe and then everything is updated. Oh, no, by the way, there's a nice new grocery store. Oh, and by the way, when it comes to the people that's on the street and the homeless, there are some shelters and there are some people who are actually working in them making a decent wage whose job is it to let me care for the people you try to throw away. Like all that stuff is called community. And when you shave $200 million off of a budget that you was just gonna go buy military tanks, you know what I mean? It's like, bro, how many military tanks do you need in Kenosha?
Yeah.
No, well, obviously that night you needed a whole bunch of them, but I bet you they was imported. You know what I mean? But I bet you that sheriff is saying, hey, we need to, with the budget, we need to get about 3 more tanks because who knew? You know what I mean? And I'm just saying that's the wrong place where the resources are going. And that's what, everybody's saying when they say defund the police. There are some people saying defund and start over from scratch. Let's not, there are those people who think that way. But the majority of people are like, shift the money around.
Maybe not defund, but refund. We'd like a little refund. Maybe a little refund. It's a little defaulty.
Yeah.
They shoot first, and maybe we can. But also, how about a budget? This is a much longer conversation.
Yeah.
To train them.
Yeah.
Maybe get some. Maybe get them trained in a different way. This is we can't. We're not even going to go down that road.
Yep.
It'll take us way too long.
Yeah.
But listen, this form. I love that you're doing it because we do have to have more conversations because everyone's attention span is so short, and they're choosing sides and not listening to each other.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest problem. And also, anyone who's not going to vote, I can't listen to you.
Right.
I can't listen.
Right. Because now you're just talking noise. Now you're just dropping comments. Now you're a bot. You're just a bot right now if you have no intention in weighing in politically one way or the other. So why am I even talking to you? Why are you trying to convince me don't vote for either one? Well, yeah, somebody's going to win, so I might as well vote for the person that I kind of connect. You know what I mean? Like, don't convince me that it's all rigged. I'm tired of those people. And there are a lot, Jeremy. There are a lot. It doesn't matter who you vote for. It doesn't matter. It's all rigged. It's all this. It's all that. But not just rigged because it's rigged. It's just the system doesn't work. So they've just never participated. And I feel like there's been a huge effort now. And I think people kind of realize the stakes. And I'm glad, a lot of people agree with me when I say like, oh, a lot of people are fired up this year about voting. There's a lot of people that's just making plans like, I know I'm going to wear these shoes. I'm going to take this bag. I'm going to have this lunch and da-da-da-da because I don't even trust sending my shit in the mail. I'm going to go vote in person. So, it's a lot of people fired up, man. You don't know about this. We had this thing called Versus where Brandy went against Monica, the R&B singers. Huge. It was like 1.2 million on Instagram and a live watching Brandy and Monica sing against each other. Michelle Obama popped in. Kamala Harris popped in. It was just like that. And this dude Timbaland and Swiss Beats, two dope producers musically, they came together and created a forum on Instagram where our old school greats of R&B or rap battle each other, basically playing their catalog.
Why are you speaking to me like I don't know who Timberland is? What the fuck's wrong with you?
I know, bro. I know.
Come on.
My bad. I ain't gonna act like I ain't seen you in no clubs. I've seen you in the clubs, standing on the couches.
Come on, man.
You used to get it in back in the day, bro.
Timberland, you mean the shoes? I enjoy the boots. Come on, man. I think that they should do.
I think they should do
Versus
Mr. Piven on
for
a couch
actors.
or two back in the day. We should enjoy ourselves. Just hanging out and clubbing. Before you came on, bro, we were talking about my days at SNL. I started in 2003 with Kenan Thompson. He is the longest running cast member. I feel like I have to say that every time I say his name because I just remember us saying, yeah, we want to go do SNL, and then we actually got it. And I remember us saying, yeah, we're going to do 4 years, and then we're going to bounce off the show. And then for me, yeah, bounced off the show. And then for him, longest running cast member. And so I just keep saying that. But my days of 2003 to probably 2011, I was knee deep in them clubs, knee deep. So I don't know. That's just a release for me. I love music. I love the energy. I love the atmosphere, and it's dope. You know.
No, what do you think is? He's been a cast member for 17 years.
I believe. Yeah, we started in 03. Yep.
Damn. What do you? How? You know the grind of that show.
Mm-hmm.
How? What's the variable to a guy like that he's able to stay in that pocket, doing a show like that for 17 when no one's done that long?
You know what? I think it has a lot to do with Keenan and just his talent and what he loves to do. And one thing that I've always known about Kenan Thompson is that he does not get in anybody's business. He does not worry about other people.
Okay.
Bring him an idea, he gonna try his damnedest to make it dope. And when he has an idea, be there to execute that shit, because 9 times out of 10 is gonna be dope. And as far as Lorne Michaels being Suge Knight, it's like he found a Tupac. So it don't matter who else on the label. If I keep investing in Tupac, we gonna be rich. You know what I mean? So and it's one of these things where it's a quiet, unassuming superstar career, bro. He been making us laugh. If you know, everybody has their years on that show. Everybody who watches SNL has their years where they're like, oh yeah, the best people were Adam Sandler and then Will. No, that's the years you watched. So what we've learned when we're on the show is no matter who says Gilda Radner was the best, yeah, but you're 70. So of course you think Gilda Radner was the best. Versus like people who like the new breed, the Mikey Days, the Jay Farrows, the Michael Che's, Colin was a writer. He was a first-time writer when I got there. And so now he's the head writer and Weekend Update and married to Scarlett Johansson. He didn't do bad. You know what I mean? So it's a dope experience, but I would have never guessed it. And I guarantee you he would have never guessed that he would be the longest running cast member. So what I'm getting from what you're saying is not only can he deliver, obviously you got to deliver, but also, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, he's never been a problem. Never. And people love him. And he's easy to get along with, and there's no ego involved, because as you know, if there's an ego involved, he needs to get his stuff on, and if he doesn't get it in, you're going to hear about it. So there's never been any of that. No, you've never heard anything about. And here's the thing about the show: we have barracudas. Like, you can look at the cast throughout the years, and who's super aggressive on their grind, barracudas. You know what I mean? Like, but there are some people who are like, hey man, do y'all like that character Lil Nemo? Yeah, we like Lil Nemo. Y'all want to come hang out with Lil Nemo? Yeah, we want to hang out with Lil Nemo. And Lil Nemo is the biggest star ever because guess what? Everybody like Lil Nemo. You know what I mean? So those barracudas are working just as hard, but they're doing all the work, and people are bringing Lil Nemo work. He has his ideas he's going to get off, but I feel like he's so likable and so talented. You know what I mean?
You know what? You just made me think of something. When you said, and it's a great question, what would you tell your 20-year-old self? I think now more than ever, because for me, it used to be outwork everyone or just work as hard as you possibly can, be over-prepared, and just execute. And that's all you need to do. And the reality is, and I've never been a dude that schmoozes. I just didn't. Never did. I would always be honest with people, never disrespectful. But it's interesting because people now, and you're talking about the Keenans of the world, really figured out how to just get along with everyone and be someone that everyone wants to be around. And there are people out there like The Rock, who everyone loves. He's the highest paid actor in the world. Is he the best actor in the world?
Probably not. No.
We don't know.
Probably not. I'm gonna guess. I definitely have my favorite actors, but
okay.
But he's dope. He's dope though. I believe everything Dwayne does. You know what I mean? But go ahead.
I think that one of the.
Shout out to the U, by the way, Dwayne Johnson. Go ahead.
I
just saw the hat. I'm like, oh, wait a minute. But go ahead.
Hardworking defensive end who, didn't quite make it in the Canadian League, and now he's making $20 million a movie and is the highest paid actor in the world. You
want to know another crazy story about that along the way of his journey? his wife became his ex-wife, but she's still the president of his company. Like, come on, man. What type of vibes do you send out as a person where you're like, my new wife loves you, I love you, you're smart, run our company, and we're just gonna have a blended. I mean, how dope are you as a guy for people to be like, yo, this regardless of our differences, this works together, and then everybody can anyway.
Ending, no, you're right. Endings are important. Talk about putting your ego out of the equation. Everyone was good to each other, and everyone's still in each other's lives in that situation. And I think, it's not just be great at what you do. It's like, how do you make other people feel when you're around?
Yes, bro. Yes. I'm gonna tell you something, people. One thing that I know for a fact, Jeremy is saying that the way you are on set, and not even on set, just in the whole, on the grounds, the way you are with people and how you interact with people. I think I said this on the Wendy Williams show, and I forgot how I said it, so I'm gonna fuck it up. But I said something like, the way you work with others is also part of your professionalism. It's also part of it's also part of the job. The way you work with others is also part of the job. And it's dope that you can be the star and you're the number one person on the call sheet or whatever the perk is. It's dope that you earn that. But if you don't make that cameraman and that person who asking you if you want cheese in your omelet that morning when they knock on your trailer, or the person doing your makeup, or the assistant director, or if you don't just become personable, even if it's fake, just learn how to do it, because it makes people want to work with you. And in our business, we find out too late that, damn, the phone ain't rang in a while. I know these people still making, I see the credits. I haven't, you know what I mean? Like, that half of these auditions, they go out to offers with people, and it's because, this person will deliver, they professional, they great, they hot, and people want to work with them. So you in there, you ever been in an audition, Jeremy, where you sitting in those chairs in a line of dudes, but you hear the casting director with their door open and they're going out to people, and meanwhile you're going in there to audition for the same role? That probably hasn't happened to you in a long time, but I say that to say that, yeah, man, how you work with people is important. I don't know why I'm so long-winded today.
I understand what you're saying. Believe me, but for me, I got so caught up in trying to get it right that I would sometimes not be aware of my surroundings. No disrespect to anyone, but I'm just locked in. And I think that there's a way, and I want to figure this out moving forward, to be locked in and still be present. I mean, I think, and I'm going to butcher this quote, but Denzel, and I'm not going to equate myself to him because he's one of the greats, but he said something along the lines of, he came from a little bit of a different place because he would get locked in as well. And he said some people misunderstood him because of that. They thought he was being disrespectful. But then he said something like, would you rather you have a great performance you're proud of, or have everyone say, oh man, he was amazing to me, man. He came over, he was making me laugh. You know what I mean? So it's a fine line between feeling like I got to entertain all of these people.
Right.
And doing what you need to do, and finding, as we were going back to before, finding that balance and that duality. Right. Because I think, I found a great responsibility every time you're on set to do the best you possibly can. And a lot of times, especially with Entourage, I had 4-page monologues. Yeah. And I had to be word for word, letter perfect. And people thought it was improvised. And the reality was, it was like,
they know you could do it.
Structure.
It was like driving a Ferrari to a writer. They're like, let's just write this 3 pages. Jeremy can do it. And but it's a tribute to your talent. But at the same time, that does require focus. Because I was on Fox trying to, my boy Jeannie was helping me trying to memorize 6 new lines that they wrote in the moment. But none of the lines connected. They had nothing to do with each other. So it was just a rant. But I'm like, hey man, we gotta go outside because it's a live audience. Hey man, we gotta go outside and run this. And everybody's like, hey, Finesse, I'm just trying to wave, but I'm just running these 6 lines because hey, you can do it 10 times.
Yep.
But wouldn't it be dope if you just did it twice? And everybody was just like, wow. And then the writers are like, yo, we gonna write more for Finesse. You know, you got to keep that in mind. And you know what I think it should be? If you're in a movie, then yes, there's time to play around, but lock in if you got to lock in. If you're on a TV show that meet every week and you're seeing the same people every week, you can't be in your zone every week. You got to have that balance where everybody can just be like, yo, love to be around Finesse, love to be around Jeremy. Because you see him every day. One thing that Jamie Foxx said is that he got his feelings hurt because every time he wanted to talk to Leonardo DiCaprio on Django, he wouldn't talk to him, wouldn't even look at him. And so the only time they was actually talking is during the scene. And then Jamie on the second day was like, oh, he locked in of being a slave owner. And something about trying to be a friend to me 1 minute and then get ready to call me a nigga the next minute. He's probably, you know what I mean? But he said he had to work all that out in his head. And he said what he admired about Leo during that time was that Leo didn't break character one time because he wanted to be a mean son of a bitch. And so everybody who didn't know it, they better catch the memo because he wasn't playing on that set.
No, but also I've been around both of them and been around them together, and
and who doesn't play more?
They're really good friends.
Yeah.
And the reality is, Leo's not a dummy. Jamie is insanely charismatic and really funny, and it's hard not to love him. So Leo, in that particular case, was really smart and like, I can't give into this because he's got to keep that edge, and you got to, you know what you need to stay in that lane that's going to serve you. In that particular case, that's, man, you just named probably the greatest extreme ever. Playing a slave owner. Like, I mean, that's just insanity. I mean, in that scene, Leo goes so crazy. I don't know if you know this, but he literally smashes his glass and opens up his hand and starts bleeding, and just has to play through. And you live for those moments. Yeah. But then, you come together afterwards and you realize, like I'm working on something right now where I have to, every morning I'm a few hours doing this Israeli accent. Because I know on the day, man, you got to lock in, to that character, and that I'm playing an Israeli gangster.
Right.
And, we don't.
Do you have an accent coach?
Yeah.
Okay.
A dialect coach.
Dialect coach.
Yeah. She's in Israel. And, it's one of those things where we don't grow up hearing that accent. We forget that everyone else around the world is hearing our accent because they're watching us on TV and they grow up hearing an American accent. Right.
So they know how to do it when they come over here.
When you hear Idris Elba, it's funny. When you hear Idris Elba, I mean, I'm sure people, the first time they heard his accent, they went, what? Right. That dude's from North London.
Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something real quick. Essence Fest, I saw Idris in a car with his homies and stuff, and I walked by. He was like, "What's up, Finesse?" I was like, "What's up, bro? You good?" He was like, "Yeah, man. Just kicking it, just having a good time." I said, "I see you tonight." Big concert later that night. He was like, "Yeah, I see you tonight." Some girls walked by. They was like, "Hey, Idris." He's like, "Hey, ladies, how are you doing? And just wanted to let you know that it's really hot, and so your breeze really made me feel good when you walked by." I was like, "Oh, wait a minute. He turning that on and off." But yeah, man.
So he put on a New York accent to speak to you because that's his American accent.
Yeah, that's his American accent. He was like, "What's up,
New York?"
But when the ladies walked by, he went back to just like, "Hello, beautiful."
He went from Stringer Bell to James Bond.
Yes, bro. Yes, man. He sure did. I didn't know the dude from The Wire was a Brit. He was just in Five Bloods with Spike Lee. He was the detective.
Exactly.
He just walked
older character actor.
Yeah. But he's a Brit. He was just on TV, bro. He broke down emotionally because he said when he saw Chadwick on shooting the movie The Five Bloods with Spike Lee, he thought he was a little precious. You know what I mean? And every time I watch him describe that, I freaking cry because I kind of have a Chadwick moment where nothing on that extreme. Because of course, actors, accomplished actors, when you get around somebody younger than you and you're like, okay, yeah, you had a hit with Black Panther. I can see where your mind is just immediately goes to. He thinks he's all that. So to just see him just air that story out in front of the world and be that vulnerable to say, oh man, little did I know he had cancer. You know, he had somebody massaging him and his girl holding his hand and people rubbing his feet. And I just thought he was precious. And I told my wife that. But little did I know he had cancer. And I'm thinking there are so many people right now have to be saying, my short chat with story is that I begged him. I didn't beg him, but I was in front of Black Panther and it was a Dave Chappelle private party. Everybody leave your cell phones outside in a pouch, which I didn't know people were doing. I just walked in and I saw him and I said, Chadwick. And man, dude was like, what's up, Finesse? And when I tell you, it was just like, hey, all right. I was like, hey, he said, yeah, I know you are. I said, bro, my niece, it didn't dawn on me that he's taken at least 150,000 pictures in that short span of maybe a year that the whole Black Panther had hit humongously big. But his wife said, babe, this was the night this is why we came out. No pictures, remember? Let's just have one night. And I didn't think about her. I didn't think of how many times she had to go out the house next to this dude saying, babe, please don't take pictures today. Please don't take pictures today. And his spirit, if you know anything about him, I can't not take a picture, babe. The kids, I can't tell kids. No, he was trapped. I saw him in that moment look at me like, okay. And then look back at her like, because she saw him do that and he's like, oh, babe, I mean, and I thought he was just kind of saying like, babe, I know you don't know this dude. He's older. He's older. I know you don't know this Finesse. He's a real cool dude. And I was looking at her like, nobody's around us. I was looking for every reason to just be like, chill, relax. He said it's cool. But bro, she was like, she could have been saying, we came out in public. You know how hard this is on you. Nobody knows what's going on. And plus you promised no pictures. And they even advertise it as no pictures. And so I was just like, damn, I don't know why my mind went back to that. I was just like, I remember that night I was being pushy for a damn photo because I wanted to impress my niece. Jeannie, I wanted to tell my niece I knew, I have a picture of Black Panther. So yeah.
Yeah, man, he made an impression on all of us, but also because when he had the opportunity to speak, he didn't waste it. It was so beautiful. It was incredible. I mean, those at the Screen Actors Guild Award, all of those speeches, he took those moments and we'll never forget it. I mean, I didn't know the guy, I never met him. And I got emotional when I saw that and it just hit me. He's touched all of us.
Yeah. He was that guy that we were just talking about, Jeremy. He was that guy that when you're like, how do you walk that balance online, on a set where you're locked in, but everybody just feels like they can just interrupt you and ask you anything and it's okay. He just had that type of charisma on set, off the set. And I ain't met one person that was just like, Chadwick, diva. So when I saw that tape that that guy did on the news, it immediately took me back to my time. I was like, oh, I remember when I was a little pushy, even though he acted like he was cool with it,
But it's also because he's British and I've worked over there a lot. It's a different culture and their whole philosophy is just to get on with it, no matter what, stiff upper lip, don't be a diva. And so when he saw that, he immediately thought, here's an American and he is a diva. And so, but for him to, that hit him so hard. I saw that clip and it broke me up as well. But also, I'm hoping moving on that, some of the people on the internet and the media who beat him up for looking frail will take a beat, take a beat. All the haters, who just feel like it's okay to destroy people. You really never know what someone's going through.
Right.
And if that's not a shining example, I don't know what is.
I don't know what it is. can I tell you, I respect him so much as an actor that when I saw him at the NBA All-Star game and he looked so small and skinny, I immediately said, let me tell you something. This chat with Bozeman and Christian Bale, these guys go for it. Like, I don't know what role is coming up, but I told my girl, I said, they go for it, babe. I can't even wait to know what movie this is and he has to bulk back up because he has to get ready to play. This dude is amazing. I never once thought he was sick. That's crazy. I never once thought. Cancer never even entered my mind. I just was like, and he's about to come out and show the world that he's working on. Look at him. You know, that's crazy, bro. Let me shift it real quick because I'm gonna let you go, my friend. Real quick, if your Mount Rushmore of stand-ups, not of acting, but of stand-ups, who's your Mount Rushmore?
I mean, George Carlin, old school, Richard Pryor, Chappelle, you know, for a guy who I just feel like, I don't know if there's anyone more authentic than he is, you know? There's nothing pretentious about him.
Right.
I mean, he speaks about the things that others, especially men, you know, shy away from. And he tackles them with honesty and insights and incredible humor. And will put stuff out in real time, you know, to address certain issues. So, and he's kind of rewriting the playbook on the whole thing. So, you know, he's obviously, I mean, he's a huge inspiration. I'm sure you know Dave, and one of these guys who, you know, talk about someone who is totally approachable, you know. Yeah. And anytime I've ever had a conversation with him, you know, you can, you know, he's a real decent guy, can totally present and can turn it on like that.
Dave Chappelle cannot know you, and he's one of those people that if he calls you, you're going to stop what you're doing and do whatever he just asked you to do on that phone. Hey, babe, Chappelle just called, and I'm supposed to go to Yellow Springs tomorrow, and so I'll be right back. You know what I mean? It's just like, you stop what you're doing to answer a Chappelle call if he just says, hey, man, you want to hang out? Or, hey, you want to come perform in my hometown? Or, hey, everybody loves the dude. You know,
he has also an incredible way. He has such range as a stand-up where there's nothing that he can't investigate or illuminate, and yet isn't afraid to have fun and be lowbrow.
Right.
If it tickles him.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So,
and then I kicked her in the pussy.
Right.
I told you I was gonna come back to it. You know what I mean? This is the joke. I'm gonna do the punchline first, and then.
But then he'll break down systemic racism
and break it down till it's broken. I mean, he breaks it down so much where you're like, nobody is gonna come back behind him and pick that up for a second. But yeah, man, you know, definitely one of my inspirations, man. And now you got one more. One more face on the mountain. That's Carlin. That's and Carrot Top. There it is. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something. Man, I appreciate you spending this time with me, Jeremy. You know what I'm saying?
Thank you, man. Thank you for always keeping it real for me and letting me learn from you. I look forward to be on a lineup with you soon.
Absolutely, man. I'm going to keep in touch with you. Whatever you're working on, I'm a bat phone call away. I'm a text away. You know, run anything by me. And, you know, we always work out at the same spot. So.
Yes. And by the way, you're inspiring me. I'm going to get into the game with a podcast called How You Livin' Jay Piven.
How You Livin' Jay Piven. I hope that I'm one of your first 10 guests, my brother. How you living, Jay Piven? I'm going to
pretend like I don't know you.
Man, ladies and gentlemen, that's Jeremy Piven right there. Chicago loving, actor extraordinaire, now turned stand-up comedian, and will be touring a city near you really, really soon. Especially, we all just waiting for the ban to be lifted. My friend, you be careful. Stay safe out there. You give mama a kiss for me and tell her I said thank you for letting me have you for an extra 15 minutes. All right?
Absolutely, I will. Thank you for the time, man.
All right.
Keep doing your thing, man. I'm proud of you.
All right. Jenny D's.
See you, buddy.